Type Sid Kagano anywhere online, and you'll see a lot of similar results. Aura Farmer, Isekai Slob, Isekai Parody, Harem Bait, Edgy Main Character. There are countless stereotypes from this anime. But what if they missed something? The Eminence in Shadow started in 2018 as a web novel on Shosetsu by Daisuke Aizawa as a hobby. The site was already drowning in identical isekai stories, so he added one element they hadn't seen: a misunderstanding. A guy so committed to a roleplay that nobody in the audience takes him seriously, and the entire world bends around that gap. And it worked. Soon there were 7 light novels, 17 manga volumes, 2 anime seasons, and now a movie that's on the way. All from a guy who was writing an isekai parody making fun of other common tropes. So what did people miss? Shadow is insane, he is corny, he is playing pretend, and half the time he has no idea what is actually happening around him. None of that is wrong. The problem is the extra step people take after that. They see Shadow as a performance, so they assume everything expressed through that performance must also be fake, and I do not think the story supports that. I think Sid is misunderstood because people treat the mask and the person as opposites. But Shadow only knows how to express himself honestly through that mask. So I'm going to take a look at 5 parts of him. I am not arguing that the act is fake. It is very fake. I am arguing that that fake is not the same thing as empty. Let's start with the obvious one. The clip everybody has seen even if you've never watched the show. And I'm not going to go ahead and tell you this guy's an aura farming. Look at him. This is the embodiment of aura farming. This is Shadow's performance. His audience is clear. The room goes silent, and everyone there understood that they witnessed something impossible. But we, the audience, knows this is all for show. The next day, he goes back to school and blends in as our favorite background protagonist. I'm stating the obvious here, but for a good reason. This desire to blend in isn't out of selflessness. It's how Shadow wants to be seen. But this is so important because while the persona of Shadow may be an invention of Sid, his very real desire to be expressed is not. Sid spent his whole first life chasing a goal with no realistic chance of success. He died, literally chasing a concept that didn't exist. His reincarnation finally gave him the tools to bring about his lifelong dream. That satisfaction is what's so very real. His commitment is second to none. The person he wants to become was finally made real. His acting tells us that he is performing, but it does not tell us that his performance means nothing. And if that desire is real, the next question is where it came from. Because Shadow definitely did not create Sid's obsession. His obsession is what came first. Even in his first life, Shadow was obsessed with all things he thought incremental to his overall training. I mean, just look at this clip.
何かな、西村さん。
私の名前、西村じゃないんだけど。
Dear Lord, alright bro, we see you. Jokes aside, Shadow has shown extreme levels of intelligence. He's mixed in and matched the best martial arts, developed numerous techniques of his own, and has studied advanced physics blending several concepts together. He's studied anything and everything that might bring him closer to surviving, you guessed it, a nuclear bomb. It was impossible, and he knew that, and he still organized his life around it. We get clear indicators in the series of how much this life means to him. Shadow clearly states just how much he's willing to give up everything else for this dream. It is the filter that he uses to decide what deserves space in his life and what doesn't. And this also explains why Shadow's dialogue can sound like a genuine conviction, even when he was obviously performing. He talks about distractions, pursuing strength, and giving everything for a single goal several times in the series. He's not inventing a new philosophy for the scene he's in. He's expressing the same philosophy that Sid had already lived by his whole life. He may be over-exaggerating it, but it's still very real.
"その結果、私の剣が何て呼ばれてるか知ってるでしょ?"
凡人の剣。
そうよ。でもあなたも私と同じ凡人の剣。残念だったわね。
残念とは思わないよ。僕は君の剣が好きだし。
This is one of my favorite clips in the show because Sid is speaking as himself and not a fake persona. Alexia hates her ordinary swordplay because everyone compares it to her older sister Iris. Sid likes it for the exact reason other people dismiss it. It's built on the fundamentals, repetition, and removing all unnecessary movement. There is no performance payoff here. Saying this does not improve his character or status in any way. He says it because he respects what's being built here. The only thing that changes later is that when he speaks as Shadow, it appears in a more dramatic language. The light novel makes this same idea even more direct. These lines are not random wisdom pasted onto an empty character. His daily behavior always returns to the same standard he set for himself. He constantly trains, even though he's already surpassed everyone around him. He shows respect to other people through their techniques and training. We know his beliefs and standards are real, but that still begs the bigger question. Is there anything else to him besides his obsession? I want to be clear here. Shadow is not secretly a normal, emotional, healthy guy pretending to be insane. He is detached from people in ways that are supposed to be uncomfortable. He misses obvious emotions, ignores consequences, and turns serious situations into material for his fantasy world. But being detached is not the same as being incapable of feelings, and being selfish is not the same as being incapable of kindness. Marie is one of the best examples for this. We first see her in Season 2, Episode 1, working as a prostitute in the lawless city. She is later saved by Shadow after a ghoul almost kills her during the Red Moon incident. That rescue fits his usual pattern. He found a dramatic situation, copied a line from someone he heard earlier, made a dramatic entrance, and moves on. After Maria is saved, she takes all of her money and swears she's going to live a better life, and escapes the lawless city. We next see Marie in Season 2, Episode 9, as she's running an inn in the Oriana Kingdom. Soldiers extort her for fake taxes. Sid is in the area with no mission involving her. Shadow Garden isn't watching, and helping her does not advance his current plan with Rose. He still steps in as the weak background character filling his role. He gets the crap beaten out of him per his MO, but later he comes back as Shadow, kills the men, takes back the money, and gives their gold to Marie. Yes, he definitely enjoyed that scenario, but that did not cancel out what he chose to do. He could have easily walked away, he could have killed them and kept the money, we've seen him do it before, and he could have decided Marie was irrelevant. Instead, he took the time to give money to her. We know everything Shadow does is deliberate. So he truly did, no matter how small, did do the right thing.
今まで聞いた月光の中でも間違いなく最高の演奏でした。
貴様は何をなす?
This scene, to put it lightly, is absolutely theatrical. Shadow steals a piano, drags it underground, and waits in the dark for the exact moment Rose can hear him playing. That is not a subtle human connection, that is just Shadow being retarded. But the things he builds the scene from are still personal to him. Moonlight Sonata is genuinely one of his favorite pieces. He is drawn to the mood, the darkness, and the image it creates. The performance is ridiculous, but the taste behind it is meaningful. The question he asks matters because for once, Shadow is not only announcing what he believes, he is asking Rose what she believes. He gives her power, but he also pushes her to choose a direction for herself. We should not pretend he fully understands her pain. He does not. He's still using the moment to live out his fantasy. But the scene can be theatrical and meaningful at the same time. They are not mutually exclusive, and this is the pattern of Sid. He takes a genuine preference, reaction, or kind impulse and translates it into the only language he is completely comfortable speaking, a theatrical scene. Once we can accept that the real belief and real feeling can exist inside a performance, there's one question that changes. Instead of asking whether Shadow is fake, we have to wonder whether Sid is any less constructed.
僕が思うに世界は明るすぎるんだ。だからいろんなものが見えすぎて大切なものを見失ってしまう。
それは。
だから月の光に照らされているくらいが僕らの世界にはちょうどいい。みんなも目を凝らして大切なものを見失わないようにするから。僕らは月の光の下で大切なものだけを見ていればそれでいい。だから
月に照らされた世界で貴様には何が見える？
I use this clip because I think it highlights the main argument. Most people can divide Shadow into two halves, Sid being the real person and Shadow being the fake character. But this scene shows that they are really one and the same, with different goals behind it. Sid Kagano is the ordinary student who chooses average friends because they support his image. He practices weak swordsmanship, he rehearses ways to lose, he changes his posture, voice, expression, competence, and even the amount of tension he allows himself to receive. Normal Sid is not his natural personality, it's one of his camouflages. Mob Sid is not his natural personality, it is a camouflage. This quote is funny because Sid treats being a side character like its own discipline, but also exposes the problem with calling one identity real and the other fake. Both identities are built. The difference is what each one is built to do. Normal Sid suppresses his ability, taste, confidence, and ambition, so the real world will ignore him. Shadow exaggerates those same qualities so that the world will remember him. One mask hides nearly everything he values, while the other puts those values on stage. That is also why the misunderstanding at the center of the story can work so well. Shadow Garden thinks every word is a part of a master plan. His classmates think he's harmless. The cult sees an incomprehensible monster. Every group is wrong, but almost none of them are completely wrong. Shadow Garden is wrong about how much he knows. They are not wrong about his discipline, power, or commitment. His classmates are wrong about his ability. They are not wrong that he deliberately lives like a nobody. The audience is right that he is role-playing, however the mistake lies in the fact they assume the roleplay is the only thing there.
"漆黒をまといし者。なるほど、君が近頃教団に噛みついてくる野良犬か。
我が名はシャドウ。影に潜み、影を狩る者。
We all know the famous line, and it just sounds like a kid saying the coolest thing he can think of. And it is. But it is also the most honest introduction he gives anyone. It tells you what he chose, what he values, and what he's organized both lives around. So I don't think the real Sid is hiding underneath Shadow, waiting for an act to end. The act is part of the real Sid. It is exaggerated, delusional, and constantly distorted by the fact that he does not understand the plot around him, but it is still made from him. Shadow's a fantasy, and the person revealed through that fantasy is real. Last couple things. I don't think Shadow is misunderstood because people call him insane, corny, selfish, or delusional. He is all four. I think he's misunderstood when those descriptions are treated as the end-all be-all of the conversation. The comedy works because Sid is performing in a world that keeps taking him literally, but the character works because the commitment is not a joke to himself. His dream existed long before his reincarnation, his work done alone matches the standards he talks about, and his real tastes show up in the scenes he creates. Every once in a while, a simple human choice, like helping Marie, survives all the way through his deliberate performance. Shadow is not proof that Sid has no real identity. Shadow is what happens when Sid takes the parts of himself he truly values and turns them up just a little bit more.